arrest you and me get locked up in
Open the door, Barney.
Bernie, come
Open
on.
the door.
I'm gonna get locked up in this cell.
I can't hear you.
You're the only girl I love!
This here's my favorite part.
Oh, sir, ain't nobody gonna escape from this jail this night.
When we think about the Andy Griffith Show, Andy and Barney naturally come to mind first. But Mayberry was filled with so many other memorable faces that brought the town to life. Some characters only appeared a handful of times, but left lasting impressions that fans remember decades later. Today, we're taking a closer look at the 10 most underrated characters on the Andy Griffith Show. Number 10. Ellie Walker. Ellie Walker was Mayberry's progressive pharmacist who appeared during the show's first season. Played by Eleanor Donahue, Ellie brought a breath of fresh air to town as an independent, educated woman who wasn't afraid to challenge traditional thinking. She briefly dated Andy and had wonderful chemistry with the whole cast. What made Ellie special was her willingness to stand up for what she believed in, whether it was defending a farmer's right to sell produce or questioning outdated customs. She represented modern thinking in a traditional small town, and the dynamic created some genuinely interesting moments. Donahue only appeared in 12 episodes before leaving the show. Feeling the character wasn't quite clicking the way everyone hoped, but those who remember Ellie appreciate the intelligence and warmth she brought to Mayberry. She was ahead of her time, and that independent spirit made her stand out during that first season. Number 9. Otis Campbell.
I'm sorry I broke your heart, Mother.
Now, Otis Campbell might seem like an odd choice for an underrated list since he's fairly well known. But Hal Smith's portrayal of Mayberry's lovable town drunk deserves more recognition than it typically receives. Otis appeared in 32 episodes between 1960 and 1967, and each appearance was a masterclass in physical comedy. What made Otis memorable was his routine. He'd stumble into town after a bit too much to drink, politely let himself into the jail cell using the key Andy left hanging nearby, and sleep it off in comfort. The next morning, he'd be perfectly polite and apologetic before heading home. There was something endearing about his self-awareness and the gentle way the show handled his character. Hal Smith himself was the complete opposite of Otis. According to Andy Griffith and Don Knotts, Smith rarely drank in real life. The character eventually disappeared from the show due to sponsor concerns about depicting drinking, even in this lighthearted way. Later, Smith would use the Otis character in commercials for Mothers Against Drunk Driving, showing how the character had taken on a life beyond the show. The way Mayberry treated Otis with kindness rather than judgment reflected the show's gentle heart. Number 8. Clara Edwards.
Some enchanted evening.
Hope Summers played Clara Edwards, Aunt Bee's closest friend and occasional rival in Mayberry's social circles. Clara appeared in 32 episodes throughout the series run, and she brought a wonderful energy to every scene. She was sometimes referred to as Clara Johnson or even Bertha Edwards depending on the episode, but fans knew exactly who she was. Clara was a busybody in the best possible way. She and Aunt Bee would compete over baking contests, charitable activities, and social events. Their friendship had a realistic quality to it, complete with petty jealousies and genuine affection. Hope Summers brought warmth to the role while never shying away from Clara's more meddlesome qualities. Before The Andy Griffith Show, Summers had appeared in films like Inherit the Wind and would later appear in Rosemary's Baby. She understood how to play these neighborly characters with depth. Clara wasn't just comic relief, she was a real person with her own life and concerns. The episodes featuring Clara and Aunt Bee's adventures together showed a side of Mayberry life that didn't revolve around the courthouse or Floyd's barbershop. These two women had their own rich social world, and Clara helped bring that world to life. Number 7. Thelma Lou.
Andy, it was all a joke.
Betty Lynn's Thelma Lou was Barney Fife's patient, understanding girlfriend who appeared in 26 episodes between 1961 and 1966. While Barney got most of the attention and laughs, Thelma Lou was the steady, sweet presence that grounded those episodes. What made Thelma Lou underrated was her consistency. She put up with Barney's insecurities, his exaggerations, and his nervous energy with remarkable grace. When Barney would get himself into one predicament after another, Thelma Lou was there with understanding and genuine affection. She wasn't a pushover, though. Thelma Lou had her own thoughts and feelings. and she'd let Barney know when he'd gone too far. The relationship between Barney and Thelma Lou felt real in a way that TV relationships of that era often didn't. There was genuine warmth between them, and you believed that Thelma Lou saw past Barney's bluster to the good heart underneath. Betty Lynn brought such sweetness to the role that Thelma Lou became the ideal small-town girlfriend. After the show ended, Lynn actually retired to Mount Airy, North Carolina, the real town that inspired Mayberry. She became a beloved part of the community, attending fan events and celebrating the show's legacy until her death in 2021 at age 95. Her connection to Mayberry extended far beyond the character she played. Number 6. Ernest T. Bass.
Darlene, look out here!
Ernest T. Bass might be the most memorable character who appeared in the fewest episodes. Howard Morris brought this wild mountain man to life in only 5 episodes between 1963 and 1965, yet he remains one of the show's most beloved characters. That's the mark of something special. Ernest T. was pure chaos, wrapped in a newsboy cap and vest. He'd come barreling down from the mountains with his trademark greeting and immediately start throwing rocks through windows, which he considered himself an expert at. Despite his wild ways and complete lack of social graces, there was something oddly endearing about Ernest T. He wanted to learn to be civilized, to win over the ladies. It just never quite worked out the way he hoped. Howard Morris, who played Ernest T., was actually a classically trained actor who'd performed Shakespeare. He'd worked with Sid Caesar and was primarily interested in directing. The Ernest T. voice and mannerisms were completely invented for the show. Morris would later direct numerous episodes of various TV shows, but Ernest T. Bass remained the role fans remembered most. The character appeared in memorable episodes like Mountain Wedding, where he tried to win Charlene Darling away from her husband, and The Education of Ernest T. Bass, where he attended school to impress a woman named Ramona. What made Ernest T. special was the energy Morris brought to every scene. You never knew what he might do next, but you knew it would be memorable. Even though he only appeared 5 times, Ernest T. Bass left an impression that lasted decades. Number 5. The Darling Family.
Julie kept behind them all and never...
The Darlings were Mayberry's musical mountain family who brought bluegrass to the show. Led by patriarch Briscoe Darling, played by Denver Pyle, the family included daughters Charlene and the mostly silent Darling boys. They appeared in several episodes throughout the series run, and each appearance was a treat for fans who loved their music. What made the Darlings special was that they were played by a real bluegrass band called the Dillards. Their musical performances weren't faked or overdubbed. These were genuine musicians playing authentic bluegrass, and it added something unique to the show. The music was beautiful, and watching Andy join in with his guitar created some of the show's most memorable musical moments. Denver Pyle played Briscoe with perfect deadpan humor. He had wonderful lines delivered with complete seriousness, like telling Andy that if you have time to breathe, you have time for music. The relationship between the Darlings and Mayberry's residents was always interesting. They lived by their own mountain code, which sometimes conflicted with town ways, but there was mutual respect and affection. The Darlings episodes often featured Ernest T. Bass since he lived in the mountains near them and had his sights set on marrying Charlene. These episodes combined music, comedy, and genuine heart. The Darlings represented a different side of mountain culture, one rooted in tradition, family, and music. They weren't joke characters. They were real people with their own values and ways of doing things, and the show treated them with respect even while finding humor in the culture clash. Number 4, Ben Weaver.
All right, Sheriff, lock him up.
What for?
Ben Weaver was Mayberry's grumpy department store owner who appeared in several episodes as the town's resident Scrooge. Most famously, he was featured in The Christmas Story, the show's holiday episode that has become a beloved tradition for many families. Ben owned Weaver's department store, the biggest business establishment in Mayberry, and he ran it with an iron fist and a tight wallet. 3 different actors actually played Ben Weaver over the years. Will Wright portrayed him in 3 episodes, including The Christmas Story, Andy Forecloses, and The Merchant of Mayberry before his death in 1962. Tall Avery played him in The Shoplifters, and Jason Johnson took on the role in Aunt Bee Takes a Job and Goober's Replacement. Despite the different actors, the character remained consistent as Mayberry's curmudgeon. Each actor brought the same stern demeanor and business-first attitude that made Ben Weaver the perfect foil for Andy's more compassionate approach. What made Ben Weaver interesting was that he wasn't purely villainous. In The Christmas Story, he initially seems heartless when he wants moonshiner Sam Muggins arrested on Christmas Eve. He storms into the courthouse demanding that Andy enforce the law, completely unmoved by the fact that it's Christmas. But by the end of that episode, even Ben's heart softens, and he joins the Christmas celebration at the jail, singing carols with everyone else. That transformation felt earned because the show acknowledged that even difficult people have reasons for their behavior and can be reached with kindness. In Andy Forecloses, Ben demanded that Andy foreclose on a farmer who owed him money. The farmer had fallen on hard times, but Ben saw it strictly as a business matter. Andy's solution involved helping the farmer get back on his feet, rather than simply kicking him off his land. The episode showed the tension between cold business practices and community values. Ben wasn't wrong that he was owed money, but the way he went about seeking it showed no consideration for the human element. The Merchant of Mayberry featured Ben competing against Burt Miller's new store. When competition came to town, Ben suddenly became concerned about customer service and fair prices, things he'd never worried about when he was Mayberry's only option. The episode gently poked fun at monopolistic business practices while showing that even Ben Weaver could change his ways when circumstances demanded it. Ben represented the business side of Mayberry, someone more concerned with profit and rules than neighborly kindness. His conflicts with Andy often highlighted Andy's compassion and common sense approach to law enforcement. Ben wanted the letter of the law enforced, while Andy understood that sometimes community and compassion mattered more. When Ben would come to Andy demanding action, Andy would listen patiently, acknowledge Ben's concerns, and then find a solution that served justice without sacrificing mercy. These weren't just simple stories about a mean store owner. They explored different values and approaches to life in a small town. Ben represented one way of thinking, focused on contracts, obligations, and the bottom line. Andy represented another way, one that considered circumstances, relationships, and second chances. The fact that Ben eventually came around in most episodes showed the show's fundamental optimism about human nature. Even the toughest nut could be cracked with patience and kindness. Number 3. Floyd Lawson.
I think I've got a nice place lined up there.
Floyd the Barber was a Mayberry institution, appearing in 80 episodes primarily played by Howard McNear. Floyd's barbershop was a gathering place for town gossip, friendly arguments, and some of the show's funniest moments. While Floyd is certainly known among fans, his contribution to the show's atmosphere deserves more recognition. Howard McNear made Floyd unforgettable with his distinctive voice and mannerisms. Floyd was a talker who could go on about anything, often getting details confused or jumping from one topic to another mid-thought. He was easily flustered and prone to panic, which created wonderful comic moments. But underneath the nervousness was a kind man who cared about his customers and his town. McNear's dedication to the role was remarkable. Midway through the 3rd season, he suffered a severe stroke that left him with limited use of his left arm. He initially didn't think he could return to the show, but Andy Griffith and the producers convinced him to come back. They built a special chair to support him, and McNear continued playing Floyd through season 7. His determination to keep working despite his disability showed real professionalism. When you watch those later episodes knowing what McNear was dealing with, his performance becomes even more impressive. The show worked around his limitations seamlessly, and Floyd remained as lovable and funny as ever. When McNear passed away in 1969, the show introduced new characters like Emmett Clark and Howard Sprague to fill different aspects of what Floyd had brought to Mayberry. But no one could truly replace him. The barbershop scenes captured something essential about small-town life. It was where men gathered to talk, argue good-naturedly, and stay connected to their community. Floyd was the center of that world, and McNear played him with perfect comic timing and genuine warmth. Number 2. Gomer Pyle.
Plain, we are proud.
Before Gomer got his own show, he was one of Mayberry's most beloved characters. Jim Neighbors appeared in 23 episodes between 1962 and 1964 as the sweet-natured, somewhat naive gas station attendant. Gomer's catchphrases like Shazam and Golly became instantly recognizable, and his good-hearted nature made him a fan favorite. What many viewers didn't realize at first was that Jim Neighbors had an incredible singing voice. When he finally sang on the show, it shocked everyone who'd only known him for his goofy character voice. That beautiful baritone led to numerous appearances on variety shows and a long career as a singer. But it all started with Gomer Pyle and Mayberry. Gomer represented pure innocence. He took everything at face value, believed the best in people, and approached life with enthusiasm. This often drove Barney crazy, especially when Barney tried to explain something and Gomer would misunderstand in the most frustrating ways possible. But that innocence wasn't stupidity. Gomer had his own wisdom, a simpler way of seeing the world that often proved more accurate than the complicated explanations others offered. The character became so popular that CBS gave him his own show, Gomer Pyle USMC, which ran from 1964 to 1969. Gomer's transition from gas station attendant to Marine recruit made for 5 successful seasons. The spin-off showed how much audiences connected with Neighbor's portrayal. Even after leaving the Andy Griffith Show, Gomer remained part of the Mayberry family, and Neighbors appeared in the 1986 reunion movie Return to Mayberry. Jim Neighbors himself was much more worldly than his character. He had a long-term partner, Stan Cadwallader, and when same-sex marriage became legal in Washington state, they married in 2013 after 38 years together. Neighbors lived in Hawaii, ran a macadamia nut plantation, and lived a full life far removed from Mayberry. But he always spoke fondly of his time on the show and the character that launched his career. Gomer Pyle showed that kindness and optimism could carry a character through 23 episodes and into a successful spin-off. Number 1. Goober Pyle. Taking the top spot is Goober Pyle, Gomer's cousin, who took over the gas station when Gomer joined the Marines. Played by George Lindsay, Goober appeared in 86 episodes, making him one of the show's most frequent recurring characters. Yet he often gets overlooked when people discuss The Andy Griffith Show, which is precisely why he deserves the number 1 spot on this list. Goober arrived in Mayberry with his own brand of comedy. He loved to do impressions, particularly of Cary Grant and Edward G. Robinson, usually at the most inappropriate times. He'd break into one of his impressions in the middle of a conversation, cracking himself up while everyone else just stared. Like his cousin Gomer, Goober was sweet-natured and well-meaning, but he had his own distinct personality. What made Goober underrated was that he carried much of the show's comedy during those later color seasons, after Don Knotts had left. The show needed characters to fill the comic void Barney left behind, and Goober stepped up. George Lindsay brought energy and enthusiasm to every episode. His physical comedy and willingness to look foolish made Goober endearing even when he was being annoying. Goober represented Mayberry's working class. He ran the gas station, got his hands dirty, and took pride in his work. He wasn't sophisticated or worldly, but he was dependable and loyal. The show depicted him with affection, never looking down on him for being simple. That respect for working people was part of what made The Andy Griffith Show resonate with audiences across America. George Lindsay himself became closely identified with the role. After the show ended, he continued appearing in Mayberry-related projects and made personal appearances for decades. He appeared in the 1986 Return to Mayberry reunion movie and remained active in the fan community. Lindsay understood that Goober meant something to people, represented something about small-town America that viewers cherished. The later seasons of The Andy Griffith Show don't get the same love as those black-and-white episodes with Barney Fife, and that's where much of Goober's work went underappreciated. But if you watch those color episodes, you'll see George Lindsay working hard to keep the comedy alive and the town of Mayberry feeling like the friendly place audiences loved. Goober Pyle earned his place as the most underrated character on The Andy Griffith Show through consistency, dedication, and pure heart. These 10 characters helped make Mayberry feel like a real place filled with real people. From Ernest T's wild mountain energy to Goober's loyal friendship, from the Darlings' beautiful music to Floyd's nervous chatter, each one added something special to the show. They weren't just supporting players, they were essential parts of what made The Andy Griffith Show a timeless classic that families still watch together today. The beauty of The Andy Griffith Show was that even characters who appeared in just a handful of episodes made lasting impressions. The writers created fully realized people, and talented actors brought them to life with warmth and humor. That's why we're still talking about them more than 50 years after the show ended. If you enjoyed this look at Mayberry's unsung heroes, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more classic TV content. And let us know in the comments which underrated Andy Griffith Show character is your favorite. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.